Long ago, in the land of Israel, there was a man of extraordinary strength, chosen by God to defend his people. His name was Samson, and from birth he was set apart as a Nazirite. As part of this sacred vow, Samson was never to cut his hair, for it was the source of his strength given to him by God himself. Through his uncut hair, Samson's strength was unrivaled, and no one could defeat him. However, despite his great power, Samson had a weakness. He fell in love with a Philistine woman named Delilah, a dangerous liaison since the Philistines were enemies of Israel. The Philistine rulers, seeing an opportunity to finally defeat their enemy, approached Delilah with an offer of great wealth. They promised her silver if she could uncover the secret of Samson's strength. Tempted by their offer, Delilah agreed to betray Samson. Time and again, Delilah begged Samson to reveal the source of his strength. Each time, Samson misled her, giving false answers to protect his secret. First, he told her that tying him with 7 fresh bowstrings would make him weak. But when Delilah tried it, Samson easily broke free. Despite her efforts, Samson's strength remained, and he foiled her traps. But Delilah was relentless. Day after day, she wore him down with her pleas, accusing him of not loving her because he refused to trust her with his secret. Finally, exhausted by her persistence, Samson gave in. He revealed that the secret to his strength was his uncut hair, a symbol of his vow to God. If his hair were ever shaved, he would lose his power. With this knowledge, Delilah acted swiftly. That night, while Samson slept, she called for a man to come and shave his hair. When his head was bare, Samson's strength left him, and the Philistines seized him. Bound in chains, he was taken away, his great power now gone. Samson's fall was swift and brutal. The Philistines blinded him, and in his weakened state, they forced him into hard labor, grinding grain in the prison. The once mighty warrior was now a helpless slave. Yet, even in the darkness of his captivity, there was a flicker of hope. As time passed, Samson's hair began to grow back. Meanwhile, the Philistines prepared a great feast to celebrate their victory over Samson. They gathered in the temple of their god, Dagon, to offer praise for their triumph. In their arrogance, they called for Samson to be brought out so they could mock him and show off their conquest. As Samson was brought into the temple, he asked to be placed near the main pillars that supported the structure. In that moment, Samson prayed to God, asking for the return of his strength just one last time, so he could take vengeance on the Philistines for his blindness. God heard Samson's prayer. With renewed strength, Samson pushed against the pillars with all his might. The great temple began to shake, and in a final, tremendous act of strength, Samson collapsed the entire structure. The Philistines, along with their leaders, were crushed under the falling temple, and Samson perished with them. In his death, Samson accomplished more than in his life, defeating the enemies of Israel in one final act of sacrifice. Though flawed, Samson's story reminds us of the power of redemption and the strength that comes from faith, even in the face of our greatest failures. The story of Samson teaches us about the power of faith and the dangers of falling prey to temptation. His strength was not in his hair, but in his dedication to God. And in the end, God gave him victory, even in his greatest defeat.